some exciting guests, so let's welcome them out. First, let's bring out Danielle Harris. Let's also bring out Wendy Kaplan. Next, let's bring out Jonathan Chapin. Next up, Tamara Glenn. Michael Myers himself, Don Shanks. And Frankie Como. Where are the chairs? Because I also have Matthew Walker. The panel is so awesome it can't contain itself. It's in the house. Hang on a second. Let's get you another chair. Hang on a second.
I'll stand behind here like your bodyguard.
I got him over here.
I know, yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of us, you guys. We've never all been together, ever. I mean, well,
Because there are
yeah, a long time. Woo!
All right, Tom, give me a mic. All right. It was a Fangoria show that I moderated where I just sat on the stage, and there was like a 5-year-old that was just playing with me while I was doing the Q&A. I know. Check one. All right. No problem. Okay, hey guys. Let's get this going. Hello. You guys have never been all on stage together? No. Pretty rad. Cool. All right, well, I'll just talk from down here. You guys, if you have questions, line up at the mic, and at some point during the Q&A, we'll just start taking questions from the audience, all right? All right, so what does everybody out here, the know-it-alls of Halloween, know about Halloween 5? This is very intimidating, let me just tell you that. And I have to do Halloween after this, so what the hell? All right, so Danielle, let's, first off, I just want to ask you, because as a journalist, living in a day and age where the news is founded on who's booking multiple films at the same time, I mean, when you find out that, like, Emma Stone is in Spider-Man movies, she's, like, contracted for 3 pictures right from the get-go. Were you already booked for 4 and 5 when you signed on for 4?
I don't think so. I don't know, I was 10, dude.
You were doing your own business?
I don't think I was reading
You were
my
signing the contracts? Come on.
I don't know, ask Malik, he's here.
Malik from backstage.
No, I mean, I literally auditioned for Halloween 4, and obviously I, lived to the end, so came back for 5. That's pretty much how it went.
Well, when you, how did it, I mean, as a child actor, I mean, how is the process? I'm just curious, I mean.
Make sure your elbow is not shadowing her face, and you can't get too close to her because I don't want you to drip sweat onto her, And I suddenly realized he was sort of constructing the scene visually, moment by moment, and that the passion and everything that I was feeling as a 23-year-old man for this beautiful woman would have to wait a couple more days until we got to shoot the scene. And then when we were there shooting the scene, it was sort of the same, kind of very technical. The lighting was a big part of it, and making sure, he was very good at making sure we were both comfortable with each other. And I think by then we sort of figured out that it wasn't going to be so much about sex as it was going to be about art. So that condom didn't never actually get broken open. So,
right, and too, I mean, the application, the way they had constructed it onto your chest, we had to shoot that actually pretty fast because my nails were going through it, and Greg Nicotero was going, no! And Dominique is, yeah, so.
I have to say that he went through hell with that prosthetic. He's on like an Arnie board, arched up like this. We went to lunch and they're still gluing it on him. They come back and it tore loose like, oh, well. And had this, oh, God.
I'm a real actor, Mom. Jonathan, you want to talk about your time getting killed? Were you surprised? I mean, at this point, had you been killed on screen before? I don't think you have.
I've been killed on screen several times. Yeah, people don't.
Up to Halloween 5?
Yeah, a couple of times. A couple of times I had my own stalkers call me. It's a lot of fun.
When you have a car like that?
Yeah, it was pretty quick and dirty because he just came up out of nowhere and he scratched my car. And then it was the pitchfork to the head, so it was...
Weed eater.
Yeah, and I used to have one of the 3 stone heads for a long time until I was told by my wife that it was too creepy. So please take it out of the, sleeping with it in bed and all that sort of thing.
When we were doing the scene, Dominic was very specific about how he wanted to arc and come in. One wrong had to hit him right between the eyes. And so the way I was swinging it, I have the mask on while I'm doing it. And it's like, no, that's not it. And so on the second one, I cheated and I did it my way and I got a kid between.
Tom, I'm curious.
One of the, I mean, this is about the car. I didn't find this out until just recently. But the car was always kind of weird. When we began it, driving it and stuff, there was something weird about this car. And one of the transportation guys go, yeah, we found that car just before we started filming. This girl had committed suicide in it 2 weeks before.
Now you tell me.
I swear to God, I swear to God.
Christine?
I swear to God. I didn't know about this.
And they never cleaned out the car. That was the weird thing.
Frankie, talk about your time on set, man. What was your fondest memory?
My fondest memory was getting the job. I mean, for actors, that's a big thing. Most of my time was spent with Dave. I didn't have many scenes with a lot of these actors. A little bit of it with Wendy. But it was in little bits and pieces. Somewhat. I'm explaining that, right? It's too exciting, but
We were talking backstage. I mean, you'd never done a con before. So what's this like? I mean, you were
this is
sitting before
amazing.
tons of fans who obviously recognized you up at the door.
yeah.
I mean, overwhelming?
Yeah. No, actually, it started with Facebook. Somebody Facebooked me that saw me in the movie. I was fine with that. I friended him, and he asked me, am I going to see you at the convention? What convention?
This thing right here.
35? Again, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, have you ever been to one of these conventions? I say, no. I got to put you in touch with Justin, and one thing led to another, and hi.
Let's welcome Frankie one more time. Hey, I want to ask you, you play a mute for a good chunk of the movie. Did you study for that at all?
Actually, they had someone on set before we started working. We banked school hours, So teacher come on and we do a bunch of hours before we start working, so I could work late at night and not have to go to school at 4 in the morning. And they had someone teach me sign language, but I only learned Tina, Big Cookie Woman. Actually, these are the only things I still know in sign language. It was big like that. Yeah, thanks. And then, I think that might have been it. I have a couple of words. Tina, Tina. See, that's all I know. I know how to say Tina.
How exhausting was it? I mean, you put yourself through the emotional ringer a little bit.
You have
For
so
a
much
kid, come on.
energy at 11, you know, and I loved everybody. I mean, I had such a special bond with everybody, and you know, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I remember the scene that we were doing actually, and I think Wendy was like saying goodbye, and I like, you know, she's like, I gotta go, and I just hysterically crying, and that might have been the first time, like, as an actor, you know, you have this moment where you're like, what was that? That was real. Like, it felt real. I don't want her to leave. Something bad's gonna happen. Or Wendy. You know, I mean, it's acting, but you kind of, your brain doesn't really know what's going on. So I had a really, this is probably the most familial, wonderful experience as far as people on set that I've had to date.
Just a reminder before we move on to the next question, you guys can line up at this microphone right here if you have any questions. That lone microphone, it's very lonely. If you guys have any questions. Don, I want to ask you, the other mask that you wear, and you're sitting in the car, you're wearing that big Bruges mask.
Yes.
Was there a process? I mean, was that, were you in on the creative process in terms of finding the mask? I love hearing stories about, you know, how a director or the team finds something before they settle on whether it's screen ready and that's what they want to go with. Were there any alternates?
No, I mean, the mask I didn't have anything to do with. The kill weapons I did. You know, I was raised on a farm, so it had a farm theme to it. You know, the mowing side, you know. So, and all the weapons we were using, except for the one that I killed her with, you know, there were no rubbers. We used real weapons. You know, the one I was taking her throat out, I got a real side.
I remember you saying something to me about when I was riding in front of the car, and with all the smoke, and you were like, make sure you know which tree to go around because I can't see you.
I can't see it.
Because I was little and the smoke was rising and it was like little bits of light catching my eye. And I just went for it. I think I had food poisoning and was like throwing up at the same time or something.
Well, you wanted to do it. You had a stunt double,
I wanted
but
to do
you wanted to do it, yeah.
You know why? Because I didn't like her wig.
Well,
And you can see she had these weird things. I didn't
but
like
she didn't
it.
run as well as you did either.
Right.
So we kind of choreographed how, you know, she was supposed to run,
Right.
but they had so much smoke. There's one scene, if you stop it, that we had to take the netting off the mask. They had this nylon stocking over the mask. But there's smoke coming out of my eyes. And there was one time when I ran over her. We were doing that because we were using the car as the camera and the lighting, and they're shooting over my shoulder. And at one point she turned and she stepped on her cape, and I put the car right on top of it. I heard her scream as I go. And she was okay because I'm not doing this. Don't get so close. They go, you gotta get closer to it. And if you watch some of the stuff that I do with her, I mean, I'm eating up the scenery, literally. You can see it digging up the trees, running at her. And it's like, okay, you go right, I'll go left, you know, would you? No. It's that right, not this right.
I don't know what camera right or not was at the time. And I think even that laundry shoot was like an air conditioning vent that when we got down on this like platform and it kind of came down and I wasn't harnessed or anything. I just was small and like they like held me down and you held me down with my arms and like I just like wedged myself in there and didn't move for hours.
Yeah, I have a question for Danielle. You know, I saw this movie when I was 13. I was like already big into the series. I saw it in theaters, and I was pissed when Rachel got killed. I was livid, man, and I in denial because I'm like, whatever. She took it in the shoulder. She'll be back later. She'll be back in the sequel. I've always wondered, just as someone that
Kind of her heart, dude.
it was up here, man. No, and she was still screaming. No, but as someone who spent an entire movie with her and everything. When you learn, like, oh, by the way, we're going to kill off your big sister, was there a discussion? Was there like, no, dude, you can't kill off Rachel. She's like the hero of the series. Or was it just kind of like, all right, cool, whatever, I got Tina now?
No, I mean, listen, I loved Ellie. You know, we had a lot of, we went through a lot in the first one. But I had a special bond with Wendy, so which formed very quickly. You know, I think that that Ellie, yeah, basically, I was well.
You're not your daughter. Well,
You know, I think that I know Ellie was very upset. You know, that she didn't get to come back and do a little bit more, and that she died kind of quick in that way. So I think she was bummed out about it. Obviously, it would have been great to have her back, you know, longer in the second one. But I think that maybe works because everybody's devastated and really mad at him. So then it's like awesome, right? Because you're like, oh, that guy killed Rachel. So it works.
Thanks.
Next question. Go for two more.
Hi, thanks everybody for coming. I was talking to John and Wendy earlier about horror movies, sort of in general, and I remember that Danielle, you're a director and produced a couple things. And in the Halloween 4 commentary with Ellie, she says that she didn't watch Exorcist, or she didn't watch Hellraiser, she didn't like horror movies, and I don't think John or Wendy care that much for horror movies. And so to you, Danielle, but to the rest too, are any of you horror movie fans, and if so, which is your favorite horror movie outside of Halloween? And Danielle especially, since you're a producer and a director of horror movies, have you become a fan of horror movies, and have you watched The Exorcist, which is an important movie, since you wanted to be a killer in Halloween?
You're asking so many questions right now.
I have to go with just one of those.
Well, what's everyone's favorite horror movie outside of Halloween?
I love things that remind me of my childhood. Hence why you guys are probably all here, right? Your childhood started with the Halloween franchise, essentially. So I'm a big, things that scare me. I mean, I'm collecting things that scare me now in my house. So I don't have anything, Halloween in my house. I have me, which is enough, I think. But so I have a large puppet gremlin from the movie, which I'm obsessed with. It's got 3D glasses on. I have Slimer, a big Slimer, and I just bought, I don't know if you guys ever follow me on Twitter, I have a fish fear, and it comes from watching Piranha as a child at 4 when I shouldn't have, so I just bought a Piranha last week at a convention, so those are things that scare me. Sorry, it's not like The Exorcist or some cooler movie like Hellraiser, but it's Gremlins and Ghostbusters and Piranha.
Let's go down the line.
I like them all. I mean, Frankenstein, Dracula when I was a kid. I like The Omen. When I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I went to see King Kong, the uncut version, in the theater, and saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Whoa, that's back in 1972, I think, or something. So, anyway, I love them all. I like killing.
Quote of the day.
I was saying that horror movies really scare me so much that I don't really watch a lot of them. I get too it's almost too real. But I think when I was younger, I used to enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street, and also really honestly, I think a Hitchcock movie could scare you more than almost any of these movies. The Master, I have to say. So that would be my answer, but I am interested in sort of checking out Hellraiser now because we had a conversation about it. I think it their, protection.
Yeah, I get totally scared by anything. So suspense, I enjoy more than jumping out of the dark with a chainsaw. But I did see, as I told you, I grew up in Washington, D.C., and saw The Exorcist when I shouldn't have. I was nothing but theater. And I could not walk in that part of Washington, D.C. for quite a long time.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot of them out there. I would have to say Psycho, seriously, but I am. I mean, I feel like things too about me, and having been blessed for playing the role in Halloween 5. I was already, as my mom was, and my mom is the one that introduced me to the Halloween franchise very, very early in life, like when I was 10 years old. So Mom, rest in peace, and she's the one that introduced me to all the doors.
Big fan of Hitchcock. I think I've seen every movie he's ever made. Huge fan. Like Don, I'm old school, so I like the Frankenstein, the Dracula, the Wolfman, the old Universal classic monsters I grew up on. And lastly, I did see Exorcist when I was about 15, scared the living shit out of me.
I think the movie that scared me the most was Ishtar. For the wrong reasons. No, I remember